All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Jared Pennington. This is my partner, Steve Stites.
Nice to meet all y'all.
We are the co-promoters of the BTE World Footbrake Challenge. And, it's the 19th year. We've got year 20 coming up, a big announcement coming for that. Year 19 just has me reflecting on how amazing this journey has been, and really just asked Steve if we could sit down and have a chat about the WFC story. What got it to happen, how we have come through some difficult years and changed the format here and there and got us to year 19. And it's Wednesday night here in Bristol. The pits are half full on a Wednesday night. The momentum's incredible right now, and we're just so thankful. So just want to sit down and kind of document our story a little bit. So, Steve, come on the scenes in bracket racing around the Mississippi, Alabama area in the early 2000s.
I started in 99.
In 99, you started.
And then I met your father in 2000.
Yeah.
And we raced together for a couple years.
Yep.
Before I ever raced you.
Yep, at Fulton Dragway in North Mississippi. And
he was the only super racer that stood up for me when I was running that class.
Yep, because they didn't like the slow cavalier
No.
in the Super Pro class. There's more stories about people that didn't like that, but we'll forget about those for now.
But I knew then the type of man your father was, what kind of man you would be.
Well, I appreciate that. He definitely taught me well. He's been a wonderful father, and I know you guys had a really good relationship where you were struggling having good relationships at the racetrack. So you kind of did your thing there in Mississippi and Alabama, and I was doing my thing and raced the B&M Series in 2003. And
won it.
I did win it, and obviously you and I met in 2004 when you started running the B&M Series, so obviously you saw that.
What happened to me is I got on Bracket News, and they would put the results up. And some of you guys that were awesome would be like 20 or 30. And I thought, I can beat these guys,
Yeah.
So 04, I started running the series. And then I learned a lesson along the way, because once you drove 8 hours or something to get to a racetrack, the last thing you want to do is light it up red and lose.
Yeah.
So you knock off a couple hundred RPM. You know what I mean? You're not trying to light it up 00.
Yeah.
It took me a year or two to understand that, but
not going down the track every 20 minutes was a bit challenging
it was
as well.
Weird, Not 20 minutes. I would go down 5 minutes. There's times I had 12 or 14 time trials in a night, and then you got to sit in the pits for 3 hours. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a different time for sure. And so you saw that I won it in 2003. You figured if I could win it, anybody could. So you come out in 2004.
I come out in 04. And I think actually the first weekend, Scotty Richardson won the first 2 days, and then I won Sunday. And so the next race was at Memphis. I had never been to Memphis. So I go out, and Steve Taylor, you remember Steve?
Remember well.
He raced the exact same kind of car I did, and I watched him come out 5 or 6 power before me, and he went 6 above, and he wasn't on his brakes. So I knew I had to change my dial in. So I changed my dial, and all of a sudden they come out of the tower. And I mean, they're jumping on me, talking to me bad. And I get out of my car, and I'm mad. And you come up to me, and you said, calm down. I said, I'm calm, And you're like, no, you're not calm. So you calmed me down, and that's where we met.
So that's kind of how we got rolling as talking to one another and friends. And we obviously raced together. We kind of hung out together, and I'll never forget somewhere along the lines there in 2004. You were a pretty simple guy. Raced a Cavalier. You slept in it at night. You ate Vienna sausage and potted meat for your dinners, and
it was 20-something nights I spent in the car that year.
So I don't know if I won the race or somebody won the race, but I asked you, do you want to go out and eat with us? And you asked where. I said, Outback. You said, Outback where? I said, the restaurant Outback.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so you didn't have any of those where you were from. So
I was podunk.
Obviously, we built a pretty good relationship over the years. We raced each other hard.
And you allowed me to come stay in your motorhome when I was sleeping in the car.
Yeah. Well, and if we can be fully transparent here, it was because your starter was really loud, and when it was cold outside, you crank it up about 11 times a night right outside my window. So I figured my best bet to get some sleep would be just let you come on in.
Well, if we're going to be 100% transparent, the first time it got ugly was right here at Bristol. It was cold.
Yeah,
and so I was sleeping on the driver's side, and somehow or another, I had the heat on high, I had the window cracked, and my foot got hung in the gas pedal. Somehow or another, I woke up, and I was sitting at 4,000 RPM. I don't know if it was 1 hour, 3 hours, 4 hours, but I give the Cavalier engine some trouble. You know what I mean?
Give it a workout.
Yeah. But I was soaking wet with sweat. Like, you just squeeze it out of my shirt. So we become buddies.
Yeah, become great friends. I gained a level of admiration for you and the results you got with what appeared to be inferior equipment, but you made it work, and you made it work well. You won the 20 grander in 2004 in Piedmont, which the race we now have control of.
But one thing that's not touched on is I think it was '03. You can tell me what. I don't know what year you become the professor, because you was teaching young people how to race.
Yep, started right here in Bristol. That was 2003. George Howard called me to the tower and asked me if I would teach novice racers on Sunday mornings how to race. So that was pretty cool. That was a great time. And, I had some success. You had some success. And we rocked along there and started going to races together. So fast forward to 2006. I guess it was somewhere around March. I think the race down in Mississippi. In Hattiesburg. And this was not even planned. You come from North Mississippi. You were about 5 hours.
We go two different directions to get to Hattiesburg.
You were about 4 hours Hattiesburg, as was I. And we come from Birmingham, and we come from North Mississippi. And we're talking on the phone and talking about where we are. And both of us happen to be about 15 minutes from Meridian. So we were both over 300 pounds at the time.
We both hungry.
we really
woke
enjoyed
up
eating.
hungry. We went to bed hungry. We was
eat.
hungry all day long.
We liked to eat, and we were good at it.
Yeah.
So we said, well, let's just stop at Applebee's, and we'll meet there and get us a bite. So we did. We sit down there, and we got us, 3 or 4 appetizers, just the two of us, and then we ordered us a big old meal and salads, and we were just living it up. And
we might have ordered more than that, but yeah.
It could be.
We ate well.
So we get to talking about foot brake racing, and at the time, any race we went to pretty much was a combo race where we were racing with other classes. And you and I got to talking about foot brake racers and how we just didn't feel like we got
crapped on.
We didn't get treated on equal ground. I cleaned it up.
The Super Pro racers were it. We were the time fillers.
We were time fillers.
We were the ones that, when it rained, throw the foot breakers out there, let them get the track dry.
Yeah,
if there was
multiple times.
Yeah, if there's anything kind of been an oil down, let's just call foot brake to the lanes and let them do it.
Yeah,
the world ran around Super Pro racers, and foot breakers were down right at the bottom, as low as they could be.
We got treated bad. So we're sitting there talking about that, and then the things we disliked about the way foot brake got handled.
I already had in my mind the things I wanted, and it was, I love foot brake racers. Every guy in these pits this weekend, I love them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're the backbone of the sport.
Yes, they are.
But
they're keeping it alive. They don't get free parts and all that other stuff. They're keeping the sport alive.
They are. They are the true blood of the sport. But I done got sick of getting treated like crap by everybody. So to be honest, half the race was built out of hate. It was everything I hated about it.
Yeah.
You know?
I can understand that.
Because even I'm going 1060s, you're going 780s, I think, in the Malibu. We both got to go deep. We can't even go to a big race without making a phone call to them and saying, hey, are you going to honor deep staging for us?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Are you going to treat us fair?
Occurrence.
Yeah.
So we start talking about that, and then you start saying, man, if we just had a foot brake only race, and it was like this is how you pre-enter, this is how you would get treated at the races, this is the format, this is the purse. And everything you said, I was like, holy crap, man. Yeah, I wish we had a race like that. That'd be awesome.
And it's got to be guaranteed purse. I mean, no matter what, you've got to pay the racers. Whatever you say you're going to pay them, you pay
did
them.
say that.
I don't care if 10 people show up or 210 or 510.
Yep.
They will always get paid, you know?
Yep. So you laid that out, and I was in full agreement. Man, that'd be a heck of a race to go to. And I don't know, probably had a fistful of cheese fries I was about to shove down my gut, and you said, I know who can do that race. I said, heck yeah, I'm there. Who can do it? You said, us. And I like to fell out laughing in my chair. And I said, Steve, we can't put a race on. We don't know how to do that. And you said, yeah, we do. You said, I can lay it out. I can build a race that racers will want to come to. You can promote it. And I think people trust us enough that they would believe in the product and come support us.
I thought they would pre-enter because these people that raced with us in the lanes for years, they knew us, they could count on us, they could take us at our word. It was the same thing when we talked about this in Applebee's it is today. If we stand out here and tell you something, it's fixing to happen.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
No doubt about it. That's right. We try to honor everything that we commit to, and I think we do a pretty good job of that, not patting ourselves on the back. But
you're the best promoter in the world. I mean,
come
honest,
on now.
You are.
Stop all that. You're going to make me cry, so this is not a crying video.
I've already been crying, so. I'm an emotional guy. Years ago, it was mad. Now it's just, I'm overcome with emotion because there's 500 people coming here to see us.
Yeah.
19 years in.
It's unbelievable. It really is.
That don't happen.
So you convinced me that we could do it. We were going to the Ultimate 64, and we kind of got our information together and kind of put a half-baked flyer out and said, what do you guys think about this? And the racers overwhelmingly said, this looks amazing. We'll do it.
Problem was you had to sell it to Bristol Dragway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're used to racing in podunk tracks in Alabama and Mississippi. Yeah. You had to call them, and they want to know how we're going to pay for the track. And, you know, it's like.
And we didn't really know the answers to that, but we gave them answers. Trying to convince them we knew what we were doing.
You did good.
So we get that done with Brandon Cross. He had just started at the drag strip, and he finally gave us a number, and we didn't know if it was a good number or a bad number, but we knew it was a number, so we committed to it. And we were a little bit scared to death, but we start promoting the race and doing the pre-entry deal. And
spend a year probably doing it.
Yeah, we had it scheduled for middle of April of 2007.
Yep.
And everything's rocked along. We had 242 pre-entries.
It looks perfect.
It was amazing. This is going to be the most amazing thing we've ever been a part of.
And then when your phone rang.
So exactly 1 week prior to us opening the gates, Brandon Cross called me at work, and said, hey, we got a problem. Okay, what's wrong? He said, we did a new concrete surface this winter, and we just did a test and tune. It's coming up in chunks. He said something didn't set right, and there's no way we're going to be able to have a race in a week. And I was sick. You was sick.
Yeah, when you called me and told me that, I just put my head down like that.
I went home from work. I was sick.
Yeah, like all these people put their trust in us, and we're sitting here telling them, you know, there's been people done wrong in the past by promoters.
Yeah.
So, you know, that had to run through some people's minds.
You had to, yeah.
You know?
So we call all 242, and some stayed in, some couldn't. The race got moved to late July at the time, and we felt like that was the biggest gut punch we had ever had. We built this thing, and it was going to be perfect, and so we make all the adjustments. Well, obviously that was a week away, and it's Bristol, Tennessee in April, which you don't ever know what you're going to get. That weekend, it snowed and rained.
In hindsight, it couldn't have been any more perfect.
We wouldn't have got to make a time trial. I mean, the place stayed covered up with snow and rain the whole weekend. It was terrible. You know, so you don't always know how God's working in your life, but obviously he's got a better plan than we do. And he had a better plan. He moved us to July. And July turned out amazing. And
Was it 340? Something like that. It was in the mid 300s.
We had right on the number 340. And we had some rain and some challenges, and it was touch and go for a little while.
You mean it rains here at Bristol?
Yeah.
I didn't know it rained at this
did
track.
Rain. Year 1 all the way through 18 so far. But, so we got through it, and it was incredible. You know, we had an amazing event. I won't give you a year-by-year breakdown, but we get to year 2, and that was 2008. So I think everybody will remember what happened in 2008. The economy.
Everything crashed.
I paid $4.69 a gallon for diesel on the way up here in 2008. So that's a pretty good indication of what happened. And we get here, and we know the pre-entry's a little light, but we're going to make a go of it just like we told them we would. And we had 182 entries.
Can you remember what happened? I think it was on Friday or Saturday morning. We pull up in the track, and the jet dryer's going where it had rained the night before. And we said, whoa, turn that off. You know what I mean? We don't have 100-something entries. We'll get through this race, you know?
Yes, yeah. We don't need it dried up too fast.
Yeah.
We're going to be able to get them run. So we left here and, you know, basically break even somehow, some way. It worked out where we didn't take a financial beating.
Right. We didn't make profit, but we didn't lose.
So at that point, I'm still just a little old bumpkin foot brake racer, which I haven't. That's all I am and ever will be. But I feel like we're done. You know, this we can't do this again. We can't risk the money we're making at home to lose it up here. So, and you quickly said, that's a knee-jerk reaction. You said, let's get through this. Let's take a week or so and reevaluate and see if there's something we can change that would make it work. So obviously you had convinced me to do anything else. So I was in. I believed in you, and you believed in me. So you go adjust it to 310s, and you cut the entry fee basically in half or a little better. Instead of a 10-50-10, which it was the first 2 years. Late great Scotty Richardson won both of those. Pretty amazing on the long list of things he did incredibly. But so you changed it to 310s, and you said, I think this will work. I think this is going to fit the racers a little better. Obviously, Bristol is an amazing facility, but they don't give it away.
It comes
with a pretty good tab.
At a price.
We got a pretty good check. So, you know, I'm thinking 310s, you know, in this entry fee, how many do you have to come out on this thing? And you had all that figured up, and you said, but I think this is going to fit people a little better. It's going to fit the economy, going to fit the class. And we come back the next year, and we had
a couple hundred something.
It was 240
or something like that.
Yeah, 240ish, which was a good increase, and it worked out. It worked out well for us, and worked out for the racers. You kept it that way for a couple of years.
Well,
actually, the next year.
I think we came back the next year, and it got up to like 250.
I think it was 280.
Okay, it was that high.
Yeah.
And then when we came back the year after that, it fell off some. And I told you, I said, Jared, we failed on this one, and boy, you stood in my face. You talked to me worse than you ever talked to anybody.
Quit.
It's hilarious now.
Yeah, well, you felt like backing up was failing, and you felt like some more change needed to be made.
Yep.
So you said, we need to make another adjustment. So you adjusted to what?
Second round winner.
Yep.
I thought it made it where, man, you come to an event like this at a place like this, you know, if you can just go visit the payout window, I don't care what you're getting. It's just that you know you went to the World Footbrake Challenge and you got some money back.
Right,
you
got something back.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, that was your whole
that feels good.
Foundation for that decision.
And I haven't changed it. You know, it's still, you know.
It's still second round winners get paid, which was really unheard of, and still to this day it's not very common. But you made a point that, you know, racers got to win the third round to get paid, and that's that's racers that are heavily invested in this, that do it every week, that, you know, are coming up here expecting to win. But you got some people, you need to just make it fun for them, and maybe they get through second round and earn something. So it was another amazing change.
Well, it was just something that put it in something for everybody. There's some people that could care less about that second round.
Sure, yeah, a lot of people don't want that. But
and there's a lot of people here that it tickles to death.
yeah,
you know?
it fits our crowd.
They know they can't win the race, but they want to come up here and race on the mountain. They want to have a good time and have fun. And then if they just get to visit the payout window once or twice a weekend,
Yep.
you know, it feels good.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly feels good. So that change brought, I think, 330 or so entries.
That's when we started getting on up there.
Yep, started getting back up there, and then it basically from that point on, it has continued to grow, or at least if it's leveled off, it's leveled off at a very high number.
Oh, I think we raised it to 15 granders to win. The car count just kept coming up. We raised it to 20,000 to win. I mean, I think we're going to have 500 to 525 here this weekend.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, it's unbelievable.
It really is. And like I say, it's year 19, you know, and I remember us talking about, you know, maybe if you get 10 years out of this, we'd be lucky.
Yeah.
But, you know, it felt like at some point it was going to die off to the point where you stop doing it. That doesn't seem anywhere close to being in sight right now. So we're humbled and honored.
And we'll never take that for granted. You know, I know starting next year, you know, I don't care if we have 500 and something this year. You know, we will work just as hard next year to make this one as good as this year.
Well, when they hear the announcement for next year, they're gonna know we're gonna work harder than we work.
Yeah,
because we're gonna have to. But we'll announce that obviously tomorrow, year 20 anniversary celebration, and so in all that, I wanted to mention that, you know, we felt like to give the race some credibility, we needed a big time sponsor.
This is a big deal here.
And
you started out letting me do it, and I think the first 10 or 12 companies I went 0 for 10 or 12. Like, how do you get people to sponsor? I mean, they're used to sponsoring these big money Super Pro races, and they're used to seeing foot breakers just be treated like crap.
Yeah.
So they don't think we're gonna get anybody to our race. They think I'm just stupid, you know. So you had to start calling them, you know.
Well, I didn't have to call many, but I called Paul Barentine at BTE. It was a company fairly local to you that we knew to be a quality place that didn't have their name on anything quote unquote big.
Yeah.
And we felt like maybe that was a good target for us. So called Paul and kind of explained to him what we're doing and what we're looking for, and we wanted them to be the title sponsor. And he said, you know, that all sounds pretty good. Let me think about that, talk to a couple folks around here, and I'll be back in touch with you. That was pretty much what everybody said. And nobody got back in touch with us.
Only he was a man of his word.
Except he was a man of his word, and he called me back the next day, and he said, we're going to do it. And I really didn't know what to say at that point because we had been told so many times, we ain't going to do it.
When you called me and told me he said yes, I was like, this can't be happening.
And it's not a monster amount of money or anything. We wanted the credibility of having a company like BTE tied to our program. And that made us feel good, and we felt like it gave the event appeal. So we signed them up in year 1.
And 19 years later, they have been our title sponsor at every event we've ever done.
All of them.
Doesn't matter if it's here, if we do one somewhere else.
Yep.
I honestly think we could call Brandon Barentine tomorrow and tell him we're going to do a race in Canada. And he'd be like, whatever you guys need.
Yeah, I think so. He's told us we got a lifetime contract. I know nothing lasts forever, but he is already talking about year 20 and the things we want to do next year. So he's fully committed to that, and it's incredible really to have a partnership with somebody like that.
And that shows BT's commitment to foot breakers. You know, just.
And I think it's been good for BTE too. there's a ton of BTE parts out here in the pits, and a lot of racers that rely on them heavily. I think we've helped lead some people to them, and they've certainly been a major contributor to our success, having been with us all 19 years at every event we ever had. So Brandon Barentine will be here Friday. We're going to sit down with him and chat a little bit about our relationship and plans for 2026. But
and we've had other companies come on board since, and they've been great to us. You know,
absolutely.
The majority of them are products, and we get to put products in racers' hands that may not have got to visit the winner's window, you know?
Yeah, best losing packages and certainly best appearing car
Hard
awards,
luck awards.
hard lucks, long toes. You know, we got sponsors that pay for the best winning package of the weekend, best losing package. So we've got amazing sponsorship. We've got people that provide ice cold water for the racers, ice cream for the buybacks. Which was my old buddy Bones that come up with that. A few years into this thing, he said, "You know what you ought to do? You ought to give ice cream for everybody that buys back." And I was like, "Okay, why would we do that?" He said, "Because you can't be mad if you're eating ice cream." I said, you know what? That's not a bad idea, because I don't remember being mad eating ice cream myself. So.
I don't remember spending $100 for it either. So I hope I never know what $100 ice cream tastes like.
Well, you know, we hear on year 19 with incredible momentum. God's blessing us this week with the best forecast we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Is it going to rain? It still might.
I might do it all 4 days.
It ain't showing it if it is, but we're blessed with an amazing forecast, an amazing crowd, tremendous support. We've got a lot of people here that trust us and believe in us. It's humbling. I know it is to you. It is to me as well.
It's humbling, but it's hard, you know, because you want to make sure that everybody leaves here happy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. You and I both have our families invested in this. Your wife, Shonda, my wife, Jenny.
And then I was going to say that our staff that we've built is incredible. You know?
It really is. It's the best of the best. You know, our kids are here working. We've got other family members here involved. So this is a family affair for us, and all of them are fully invested in making sure our customers get what they deserve. And that's certainly prideful as well.
Yeah, you roll through Tech. You got Jeff Kyle. He's been here for 19 years. He's been here through every event. You know, if you Jessica Spears is allowed to pop up anywhere in your pits and take a picture of you that will look great.
Yeah.
You got Paige. She works her butt off to promote this thing and help us. We have I know I'm leaving people out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, couldn't begin to name them all.
Yeah, because there's so many people involved in this. It's not just me and you anymore. You know?
And it takes an army to make this happen. You know, Bristol Dragway's had an incredible staff for us. So they've worked hard. We've really pushed this staff for years and years and years to curfews and cleaning up rain and, you know, unfortunate incidents on the racetrack and those types of things. So
and both of our wives are sitting out there in that booth. They'll be sitting in booths all weekend long. Yeah. And they don't even count the behind-the-scenes stuff they do throughout the year.
Yes, very good point.
You know, we're truly blessed with wives that help us. So.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't do it without them, you
Correct.
know. So, you know, just wanted to sit down and kind of, again, document this journey, and really excited. I know you are about year 20 as well.
I'm just interested in seeing where this goes, because we're not spring chickens anymore.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, we're not. We gotta. It's a full-time deal, and but right now I could see us doing it 20 more and without any hesitation. So
well, you'll be doing it with Sarah, my daughter, because I don't think my family holds on 20 more years. You know?
Oh yeah, you got plenty of years left in you. You're gonna be just fine.
Oh yeah, you'll see me running around everywhere.
You take good care of yourself.
Yeah, I do.
So you'll be fine.
I look out for my health.
Well, but again, year 19, it's going to be an amazing week. I'm, again, humbled and honored to get to share this with you. I love you. I went through some difficult times in my life, as have you, and my perspective today is the best it's ever been, and I'm thankful for you and what you've done to get me involved.
Well, we both gotten each other through difficult times in our lives.
That's, that many years together.
It takes both of us.
You're going to deal with some of that.
But I mean, I love you more today than I ever have.
Likewise. I think that helps. That helps our product when we care about one another the way we care about one another and our families. It just makes that gets relayed into product.
This interview has been easier to me than I thought it would be, but I always keep in the back of my mind, this is not ever going to be about me and you. This is about the one sitting out in them pits right now.
Most definitely.
You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
And it always will be. If we guarantee a purse, it's getting paid. I promise you, every dollar of it's getting paid, no matter what.
Yeah, and that's that makes you feel good when you can claim that. And nobody's ever been cheated out of $1 at Coburg Racing Promotions.
Nope.
By the way, that was a whole nother story that you told me that's what our name needed to be, and I said, no, ain't nobody care about that. And you said, I'm telling you to be perfect, and it's worked out very, very well. Another great idea of yours. So
I never dreamed we'd be sitting here 19 years later with 500 cars. It's unbelievable.
No, me either. You're the reason this race
You are.
exists, and you're the reason that I'm here. And again, I thank you for all you've done to make this race what it is, and I couldn't imagine doing this with anybody else. So,
Well, this is the most difficult part, because I stay hid in the background. I like being the other guy.
Yeah.
You
handling a lot of details and things.
Yeah, but I don't want attention on me.
No, you don't. And I'm not an attention seeker, but you gotta get some attention if you're gonna get a crowd here. So that's my job. That's what I do.
You was the man for that job. You were the man for that job 19 years ago, and you're the man for it this year and next year.
I really appreciate that more than you know. But excited to spend this week with you, and excited to announce what we're going to do in 2026. Again, really proud of you for sitting down and doing this. I know it's out of your comfort zone, and I thank you for giving us some time and telling our story. It's pretty dang cool.
Well, I appreciate it. I love you, brother.
I love you as well, my friend. All right, so guys, that's the WFC story. Again, thank you for watching this. I know it got a little long, but it's pretty doggone interesting, really, when you break it down. So look out for us tomorrow. We've got our social media team. We've got Cade, Eric, and Jake that ready to blow this thing out, streaming the Thursday Gamblers Race, which is something we haven't really done, and they're going to do that themselves. And the Laris Motorsports Insurance social media team is going to be putting on a great show. So thank you for watching. Watch for that announcement tomorrow for 2026.
Hope we didn't bore you to death.
I hope we didn't, but I was interested, and I knew everything you talked about, so it kept me interested. So great time. We look forward to seeing you guys some more throughout the week.
Wish each one of y'all the best of luck this weekend.
Yes, absolutely.